something really quick. Let's see. Scroll down. Download. Ah, yes, log me in. Okay, download OBJ. Sure. Now, okay, so my Discord, there was something. So Bertram, Birdie Rock Guy, had something I was going to play around with, but now I can't find it. If you want to... Okay. I could have sworn there was a download link. These are pictures. I got this one. There's some stylized stuff. We'll be doing some stylized head stuff today. Where is it? All right, I can't find Birdie's link. I'll look for that later. Hey everybody, let's see here. So let me open an OBJ real quick. We'll do some head sculpting here. In fact, let me switch this over to, if we go into here, let me see my downloads, stylized head, 7-zip, extract here. And we're going to go into import. So on the, I went into Robert, his Sketchfab here, and I downloaded the stylized head. Is it available for download? So I just grabbed that. And we're going to go into desktop here. And I'm having a hard time. Hold on just a second. Boy, where did that go? Yeah. Source, yeah, okay. Crap. Hold on just a second. Show in folder. Yes. 7-zip. Do something. Source. Oh, okay. It zipped it twice. Extract here. Okay. There we go. That's why it wasn't showing up. Bada bing. Imported mesh contains unused vertices. Would you like to remove all these unused vertices? Recommended? Yeah, let's go ahead and remove those. Okay. That'll make it work a little bit better. So now I have an OBJ here. First thing I ever do, especially when we're just working, on my weirdo desktop, is to change the mapping of my monitor here to portion. Okay. And then, so I've got this mapped here. And then we're going to go to, let's see. Line cursor surface is off. And we're going to do a quick mirror and weld across the x-axis. And you can turn the floor on. You can see we're right in the middle of the floor. We're Z forward. We're X symmetrical with the X button turned on, which is underneath transform. Activate symmetry. And I'm going to be just playing around with these shapes and stuff like this. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a close holes, mirror and weld. And we'll go ahead and just dynamesh this thing here. So let's change that blur down, dynamesh resolution at, actually 128 should be fine. That looks fine. Then we can kind of start here. Hey everybody, thanks for showing up. Let's see here. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I tried doing something new. We'll see how that works out. Okay, so we got this here. So when it comes to heads, let's go ahead and start up Photoshop too. Why not? Basics of heads. If I go through here, in fact, I can do, let's try this. So I've got this going. I've got this head in here. Go under Document, and we can go into Paint Stop and just throw this into Paint Stop. I don't need to draw on it or anything, but you can enable Polygon Colorize. It's fine. It's kind of like Projection Master. So we can go through here, and we can just kind of draw on top of this image here. So if we, depending on what book you read, let's turn on lines here so we can hold down Shift to put in a line here, and we'll go to the top of the head here, and then back of the head here, and then chin here. So depending on the books you read, the front of the head for the box of the profile view will be kind of where your bridge of your nose and the just below your lip is. Some of them will include the entire head in the box. This one looks like it's more of the entire head in the box. So in this case, it would be like this. And again, it's very highly dependent on the individual and all that stuff. But if we go ahead and just take a box to separate this head, and then down the middle of this box here is going to be where the ear line is, and then the middle of the side here is going to be the eye line. Here, is that the middle? Yeah, let's call it at the middle. So I'm going to turn lines off. And now, so from this back here, just above the eye line is going to be our brow line. And really from this view, if you go, brow line here, let me see if I said turn lines off. What are you doing? Pencil. There we go. And also let's take this transparency down. Okay, that's better. So you go above here, you got your brow line right about here. And so brow line to chin line, halfway between that is the nose line. So now you've got 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and this is going to be your hairline. So you can put in, your hairline here, and then your ear is going to be back here between the brow line and the nose line here. And you can go step this back. There you go. And let's also make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So, and then the ear you can actually divide into thirds too, and then you get your little ear going in here. So we've got our ear kind of leaning back, and now we've got our jawline here. And also it's, useful to put in, you got your cranial mass on the back here, and then you're going to have your neck kind of coming through here, and also your neck coming through here. So if you take your nose to your chin and take that extra third down, that's going to give you where the notch of the sternum is, and then the rest of this is right here is just traps. So everything's looking fine. You take this eye line straight back. That's actually where the cranium starts curving back underneath. Your occipital protuberance is somewhere in there, and that's where your traps attach to the back of your skull there. So we've got our eye line here, like so. You can just take the 45-degree angle back, and now males are going to have a heavier brow line. Their foreheads tend to go back a little bit further, a little more at a back angle. Females will be a little bit more bubbly and a little less of a brow line here. So we've got the nose here. So these are just basics. Those basics here, and then we got the bridge of the nose where the bone comes out, and we got the lip here, and then just the pupil down is going to be the corner of the mouth, and that's going to be from the front view as well. And then you've got this bottom lip here. Now, the lip does favor, it's not really in the middle. The middle right here between the nose and the mouth is going to be the bottom of that mouth, which looks fine. And then we've got our jawline here. If you take this line straight back, that's kind of where the jaw curves, so that looks fine as well. And then you're going to have your sternal-mastoid and all that good stuff. So I think we're looking pretty decent. The brow is going to step back to the upper eyelid. It's going to step back to the lower eyelid. It's going to step back to that cheekbone here. And then, a little masseter muscle here. And you got your labial fold here. I think everything's looking fine. That all makes sense to everybody? Let me get some water here. Cool. Thanks for showing up, everybody. Alrighty. Oh boy, you guys are having all sorts of fun. Yeah, please make me moderate, you guys. That's what I want to do this morning. Okay, so we got the side view of the head here, and let's exit out of here, and we'll go ahead and pick up. And this will actually project that poly paint onto the head, so we can actually use that when we start sculpting. If we go to the front view here, we can kind of play around with this a little bit. So let's go ahead and go back. Actually, let's duplicate this off just in case. We're going to duplicate this off, and we're going to say color fill object, and we're going to go into paint stop again here. This headset is that's a good question. Sennheiser something or other. They weren't too bad. I did put a little wind mesh on here because it did seem kind of poppy, and I still breathe into it a lot. I had a pair of other headphones that I think worked better sound-wise, but they were closed design. I like having open ear so I can hear myself talk and not have it closed because that just gets weird. So let's go into Paint Stop here. And we'll talk about the front view of the head. Okay, so we got the front view of the head. Let's go ahead and turn our lines back on. Front view of the head is going to be like 70-30. So if we take a line top of the head here, and then down the side here, and then the chin here. He may be just a tiny bit thin, maybe. And again, depending on what you read, you know, the temple, the sides of the head here, maybe a little wider than the cheekbones, but the cheekbones are going to be probably a little wider than that. Now, if we take the midline of the face down, there we go. Let's turn this transparency down again here. So midline of the face here, and then midline this way is going to be your eye line. And then let's turn off lines. Let's go to back to our pencil here. And this doesn't include the ears. So again, just above here is going to be your eyebrow line. In between the brow line and the chin line is going to be your nose line. Looks like that's right. And then these are your thirds. So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and then 1/3. This is your hairline. Put that here. And then your ears are going to be between your nose. Let me break the size again. There we go. Much better. If you ever use Paint Stop, it's just like the controls for size. It's just tapping S. You can go up here to your draw size. It's actually a pretty neat built-in little application for ZBrush. And I'm going to have a video series. Well, I don't think I'm going to release it. I think it's going to go to my my special series coming up. So I got this. Now, they're going to have in between here, in between your cheekbones here and your ears that are going to be outside of the box is going to be your eyeballs here, and you're going to have one eyeball width in between. And so here's your glabella. And if we take a 45-degree angle from the brow glabella down, that's probably going to be about where the tear ducts of your eyes are going to go. A little equilateral triangle there. And then you go out one eye width and then another eye width to the sides of the face here. And that should be good. Let's go ahead and drop that transparency down just a little bit more. There we go. Just like we did before, in between the nose and the mouth is going to be the bottom of the lip line, and then above that is going to be your corners of your mouth here. Eye pupils straight down is going to be the corners of the mouth, and your corners of the mouth are going to kind of fold over here, and then you have maybe, you got the corner of the nose here. We can go put in some nostrils. And there's a lot of ways you can construct a face. You can do your Riley abstractions. You can do your construction technique where you put in the ball and the planes of the face and stuff. Since I'm just drawing over something, I can kind of skip quite a bit of that. But we can still talk about, you know, the eye or the ear kind of sweeps down here for the cheekbones. And, you know, these can sometimes go to the corners of the nose, corners of the mouth, actually down here to your chin, kind of depends on the person. But if you take this bottom under the lip line out, that's going to be where the jaw kind of turns. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to widen this jaw just a bit here. And then also the pupil straight down, corners of the mouth, also the corners of the chin on a male. So we can go through here and everything else looking fine. So just widening out that jaw, widening out those cheekbones is probably what we're going to do here. And then of course the neck here, if you go nose to chin, chin to the sternal notch there, and something like this. So the neck is going to go down to what would be essentially our shoulder line, and then our traps here. Okay, so we've got this, and then of course we can put our eyeballs in here. And then our brow, again, this is our brow line, so we can put in a little brow here. Something I don't think I did in the side view, like so. And then, you know, again, depending on the age, here you would have, you know, more or less wrinkles, or depending on how gaunt they are, you can start putting in these lines here, and then also the temporal line from the corners of the eyebrows up. And then we're going to widen this out just a bit here. There we go. And then whatever hairstyle you want. Here is fine. And there we go. We got a face. And then eyeballs. Here we go. Make sense? Cool. Pars 1 false says no, do not forget the lines connecting the corners of the mouth to the insides of the iris. Gotcha. I think we did that. Yeah. And the ugly UI is from PaintStop, but it's not any uglier than any UI I've ever used. So we can go ahead and pick this up now. And there we go. So it goes ahead and projects what we were just drawing on here. Of course, you can use Spotlight. You can just poly paint on here if you want to. You can use your standard brush and change it to RGB. And you can just paint here. There's also, if you don't want to deal with that, and just keep your Z add on, there is a little paintbrush in here that just is basically your standard brush with RGB applied, and then you can just go through here and you can paint. When you're painting in here, and again, we had our two subtools here, so we had our side head and our front head here. We can probably take, with these both showing, if we take this front head here, and then we mask the sides of the head, we have extern on, yeah. We mask the sides of the head here, and invert that. Let's see if we can't project all. There we go. So now we can have both of these things. I'm going to do a quick, oh, you know what? I loaded up ZBrush and it didn't bring in my custom menu. Well, that's a deal breaker. So what we're going to do is go down here to modify topology and then open up deformation. We're going to mirror this, and then we're going to do a quick mirror and weld. We're going to do a quick save, and then I'm going to shut down ZBrush because I cannot. How did ZBrush open that up? That's from my CGMA class draw over. Photoshop did that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and launch ZBrush back up. Any way for doing fur without any custom brush, like imagine Night Watch's suits from Game of Thrones. Without a custom brush? I mean, I would use fiber mesh if you want to do fur. All right, let's see if I can, hold on. I don't know if this is even working. Let's see. Cool. And yeah, so that what we were doing was under document here, that was paint stop. So we just launched paint stop, and that's kind of like if you've ever used Projection Master, which is, oh boy, where is that at? I don't even remember where that is. That's under Z plugin. So Z plugin Projection Master, you can Projection Master an object and it'll drop it to your canvas, and you can use 2D painting tools over that. Paint stop's just kind of a nice way to do that really quickly. Sculpting and creating knots. Creating knots I would do with controlling curves. So if we go to, let's see here, go to my YouTube channel and just type in maybe curves. There should be, yeah, here's controlling curves, here's controlling curves. I just did a there we go. This one down here is probably this frame polygroup curve is a good one. Any of these things, essentially, you would, let's just do it real quick. So if you want to control like what direction a knot goes in, just drag out a Z-sphere here, and then make it a little smaller, and then just drag this out, and then we'll put some things in here. So if you want something to like go around, and then above it, and then down, and then over, and then through, and then like so. So you want to make a knot or something intricate. All you need to do is, there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can make an adaptive skin here. So when I preview this, I'm going to turn the dynamic resolution down to 0, density of 1. You can preview it. You can chop these ends off. You can pass a polygroup down here. But also, there's a Z plugin you can download called Curves Helper. Google Curves Helper ZBrush plugin, and it'll take you to the thread that has this download. You can copy the Z-sphere chain. Oh, wait, did we? All right, I'm dumb. First thing you need to know is when you're making these things is you have to have a start and then an end. You can't like start from the middle of this thing here. So what we have to do is if we're going to curve these around here, there we go. And then up, and then, oops, through, like so. So however you want to tie your knots or whatever you want to do. Now, we should be able to go to our Z plugin, copy Z-sphere chain, and then go into our star here, and then we can say paste, create curve. And now we have our curve created here. And then anything you want to tie into a knot, like BI, brush insert, curves. Is there like a rope in here? You can go to, let's do this. We'll do this for real too. We'll do it real time. We'll go to ZBrush IMM. ZBrush IMM repository rope. And there's going to be a bunch of pages on here. Let's say 37, 18, and 12. Then we'll just scroll down until we see something that we like. Is there a good rope in here? Eyelashes. Bullets. All right, it's going to make a liar out of me. If you find a good rope in here, which there should be, you can go through and you can just grab that brush and download it. Let's see if we can't find, let's go into our comic key here. Let's go to brush, IMM. There's some kind of cool stuff in here. Let's go in here. Let's hit our B key, brush curve. No, BI, brush insert, army. I guess it doesn't really matter. Bike chain. You can tap here, and now your curve will have your bike chain tied in a knot, and you can make that a rope or whatever you want to do. So check those out. Well, I am using Restream. Oh, here we go. Bam. Thank you. That'll work. So I was using Restream, and I'm not sure if Nightbot was enabled, so. How do you go about thinking of how mech parts work together and have realistic functions? Love your work. Well, thanks for the kind words. So one book you might like for that one is one called, where's my OBS here? Robot Evolution. And the cool thing about this book, I bought it off of Amazon or something, and it's actually a, maybe you can see this, it's a signed copy. It's not signed to me, it's signed to Bonnie. But that's kind of cool. Signed by Mark there. That's a good one. I haven't gotten through a lot of it yet. I had to kind of take a hiatus from design stuff and get into workflows and pipelines. So, you know. It seems like there's so many pre-made multi-meshes, insert meshes. Feel like it would be pointless to create my own from scratch on my models. Yeah. Let me see if I, so when we were doing the robot here, let's go into load. If you missed it, whoops. Go to my YouTube channel and then go to my playlists, and then we did a ZBrush Summit 2018 demo. So here's where we did the demo videos. This is going to just start playing good. And then if we go to my stream, my Pixelogic stream here, let's go to the Pixelogic page. And
what's up, ZBrush World?
If you check out playlists here, not playlists, Pixelogic ZBrush. I think just under the videos.
What's up,
here. Just yeah, there. So using ZBrush to facilitate smarter production with certain affinity. You can watch my hour-long presentation I did for ZBrush here. If you guys want that, I'll go ahead and share this here. We'll copy that. You can watch that. And then this went over a bunch of mech stuff. And then we did a live stream, and then I compiled all of the live stream videos where we just kind of go through the slides and talk about how to make stuff. We talk a bit about kit bashing and making your own libraries and stuff like that. We didn't get really super heavy into mech creation, but yeah, I would say if you're going to just make some mech stuff and you have some good functional brushes, like we have, let's see here. Where's my, it doesn't matter. Whatever. Make Polymesh 3D. BI, brush insert. No, we got to go into our comma key here, into our brushes, and I should have some kit bash brushes here. So if I wanted to find like a certain type of joint, I can go look at my pivot, universal, and ball joints here. And I wouldn't necessarily use these as is. I would just go through here and be like, okay, I have my double pivots, I have my universal joints here, I have my Stewart platforms here. So if I want to, make something that can move in certain ways, I've got all these joints I can pull from and different styles of joints. Or we can go in here to say linear actuators or mech components, joint hinge. So these are my hinge joints here. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory, like that's like a door hinge joint. But these can sometimes be useful. So we got a double hinge, and then a hinge and a pivot put together, and then a hinge and a hinge bracket put together. So we can take these and let's actually switch this out to a cylinder here. So starting with this type of stuff is sometimes useful, but a lot of times it's like, you know what, I'm going to split this off and I want to make this bigger. So I'm just going to inflate it. I don't care that much. It's just I need the functionality of this joint here. If I need it to be straight, I can just mask it out. It doesn't have to be beautiful because, again, rebuilding this stuff is fairly easy. Getting your idea out is a little bit more of the hard part sometimes. So in here, then we could just put in like a little, oh, that's a half cylinder, sorry. We can grab a cylinder here, and then we can put this in here, and we'll turn on transparency when we split this off so we can position this like so, and then we can scale this out like so. So you can start doing this type of thing, and then if you wanted to put, or you can even just drop a pivot on there, it's not a huge deal, we can make this a little bit fatter. So any kind of functionality you would need, you just drop that in, and again, it doesn't have to be beautiful, but you can end up rebuilding it later. It's not a huge deal. And once you rebuild it, then you will have your own library that you can pull from. And that's a safer library to pull from. I don't like taking insert mesh brushes and then putting that into my final model and baking out and calling it a day. I like having stuff that we've made end up there. So we go to ZBrush Summit here, and we go to our mech, and we grab our start groups. You can see that's a 16 meg file. It's a very lightweight file there. And we can look at just components of that thing. Michael, you still like Quadro over Reference Warrior? Yeah, I'm still just using Quadro. I haven't found a reason not to use it. What monitor do you like? Is it ultra-wide? I'm currently searching for monitors. I wonder how Wacom works with ultra-wide monitor. So my setup, specifically, even how I'm working right at this moment, if you go to my YouTube channel here and you see this hardware, if I just click on that, this is exactly, I'm not in the living room anymore. I'm in my office. Pepper's not here either. But so you can see these are the 34-inch ultra-wides, and if you scroll down here to my page here, you can see exactly, you know what, I wonder if I even have my, I might need to update. Yeah, so this Bayer Dynamic MMX 300, I'm not actually using those, I'm using my Steinheiser. But anyway, yeah, these are the 34-inch, and you can see ZBrush is kind of sitting right here in the middle. That's all I'm capturing right here. That's the 1920 by 1080 window here. In fact, if I launch Camtasia Recorder, you might see in the corners there of and actually this little dot right here, that's giving me a frame. So when I do Camtasia recording, it's just recording right here. So I have plenty of real estate around this area, and then plenty of real estate down there on the bottom monitor. And I only usually turn the side one on when I'm doing spreadsheet stuff. So, and of course it wants to save progress. So I'm going to do a quick subtool, merge merge visible. And then we'll just look at this merged copy here. It should be a little bit faster. So here's all these pieces. And again, when you're just, let's turn off fill. So again, and this is kind of base functionality here. Like these things are going to rotate around here. These arms are going to rotate around here. So you've got the engine block in there, and then you've got these swing arms that come out, and you've got all that stuff. So in this one's fairly simple. Like if you're going to, he's going to rotate his arm, this launcher this way, and it's going to rotate up and down. Basically, I didn't even put in functionality for turning left and right. You know, luckily the animators can sometimes take care of some of my shortfalls there. But, you know, be thinking about, you know, this one's a little bit more of a universal hinge there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, these are just basic stuff like this. So it can rotate this way around and then this way forward, all that good stuff. And then these things are actually duplicated over with array mesh, but when I merged down, we lost the array mesh functionality. So, and again, you don't have to be a mechanical engineer or anything. I keep it fairly simple. And again, I'm not a great designer. Those are just things I kind of threw together. So, alrighty. If there's a point, if you're making someone else's insert mesh brushes, if you're creating the exact same thing, like a bolt gear, I mean, yeah, if you're doing bolts and stuff, that's probably fine. But in that video, if you grab a Sphere 3D, for example, and then you go down here to initialize, and let's say we want to do 12 and 12. We can take this one, and we can go here to make Polymesh 3D. Make Polymesh 3D. Oh yeah, I turned off. Oh, no, I got filtered on. We can go ahead and take this one out. We'll say geometry modify topology delete hidden. We'll go ahead and close our convex hole here. And I do like to, let's make this all one polygroup here, and then we'll say QMesh polygroup all. We'll pull this down just a little bit, just give it a little bit of a more of a soft fall off here. And we can also maybe flatten this out a bit. And from this top part here, we can say you are, I like to do an inset of our polygroup all, but first what I'm going to do is do a QMesh polygroup all and just push this straight back. And then if you want to align these edges, you can hover over an edge and you can say align edge strip, and you go here to here, and then here to here, and then here to here, all the way around like so. Oops. Yeah, that's right. And then lastly, this one here. If we want to flatten this one out, we can just isolate this, and then we can position this here. We'll go ahead and reset this, and we'll just go ahead and Z scale that. You could actually align those edges too, probably, but that's just a little bit faster. So we have this. We can go ahead and just run a crease tolerance. We can turn on dynamic, maybe crease level 3, smooth so to 4. If that hex is a little small for you, we can go through here and we can hold down Control Shift, and we can grab these pieces here. Let's get rid of that. Let's do this. We can grab this one here. We can do Control Shift X to expand. And I'm going to get rid of this one, and we're going to run an auto groups on this one just to get different polygroups on there. I don't like having those being the same polygroup. In fact, I'm just going to make these the same polygroup because that makes more sense to me. There we go. And then in this case, we could actually do a crease PG if we didn't, for some reason, want to crease these inside edges. So now if we want to scale this up, we can hold down Control Shift, isolate this. We go to mask it, bring it back, invert that mask, hit W. We can go ahead and reposition our gizmo pivot. And now when we scale this way, are you seriously serious? All right, take this one, do an auto groups on this one too. Whenever you're Q meshing in, tap Alt, so it'll give you a damn different polygroup there. Okay, so we'll grab this one here, mask it, and then when we're scaling this way, if we hold down Alt, that'll just scale up and down those axes there, and you can even push this in a little bit maybe. If you want to build in some control curves as well, it might make it smooth a little nicer. Insert single edge loop, and you can insert a single edge loop with multiple edge loops, interactive elevation. And when you pull this out, you can actually elevate it a bit. Now, of course, you don't need to crease this one. Crease edge loop complete. Hold down Alt, and then these creases should maintain that enough. Maybe not. But anyway, so, you know, making, did that not uncrease? I guess I don't really need that one. Insert. Yeah, maybe, but even then, if it's going to be a bolt, like who cares? Brush, create insert mesh, new. Let's go back to here, and now we can create some bolts here. Perfect, just what I wanted. Oh yeah, folded collars. Let's do that too. I forgot I didn't even bring up my... So we'll get back to the stylized head in just a second here. Oh, you know what? Just in case, let's hit our comma key here, our quick saves, and we'll make sure we grab this one here. So we were messing with this one. So now this guy, if we go ahead, let's go ahead and give him a neck, because that's always nice to have when you're doing head sculpting here. So I'm just going to go through here and we'll just grab a cylinder for his neck here and turn off RGB. And also this subtool, we don't need this first one here. So this neck is going to be, yeah, so your neck's going to kind of come forward at an angle, and then it's going to sweep back around to your, I guess we can do that too. Let's grab a cylinder here. And I am going to clip the bottom of this thing here. So we'll call this our rib cage. And we can go ahead and clip the front of this here too. Something like this. So we've got our rib cage here. We'll squash it that way just a little bit. And we'll widen it. Stop it, ZBrush. Widen it here. So if you take half a head out from the side of the head here, it's going to be kind of the width of the rib cage, and then one head down, two heads down is the middle of the rib cage, and then that's going to be like two sternum lengths down, so something like that. And we can actually go ahead and just Dynamesh this together. Do we lose our Dynamesh properties? Yeah, we'll just Dynamesh that. There we go. So now these are all Dynamesh together. We have X symmetry turn on. We'll go ahead and mirror and weld. There we go. And probably this neck would be just a bit wider here. And then we can go in here with our clay tubes buildup. I'm going to drop that down, or your clay buildup here. You can go through, you can start massing in, you know, our shoulder line here, and going back in here with our primitives. And you don't have to Dynamesh these things together immediately. You can go through and just move this stuff around. And I like to keep them separate, so I'll just go ahead and say split mass points. And now you can just Alt tap through here. You can turn off your poly paint there. You can hold down Shift and turn off poly paint for all your objects. And your deltoid is going to go from the spine of the scapula to the clavicle, and then halfway down the arm, which we haven't really put in there yet. I guess we can put in kind of a cylinder for that arm there. And what we're trying to do is get something we can put a shirt on. I like to keep the arms out a bit. It doesn't have to be a T pose. It can still be an A pose. But keeping your armpits free for like some cloth stuff. Let's go ahead and split mass points here. And then we'll go ahead and this one here. And we'll curve this forward. So something like this. Now, let's go ahead and put a shirt on this person. Let's do a merge visible. There's our merge property here, and now on this one we can go ahead and Dynamesh this. So if we're going to do a shirt, let's go ahead and just really quickly smooth this out here. I'm just trying to get a unified mesh, not a unified mesh, it's Dynamesh here, but I'm just trying to unify these meshes together so we can get like a shirt shape. I think that'll work. So we'll give him a little half shirt. So I'm going to go to mask pin here. We'll mask lasso where that shirt should go, like through here. And then we can go back to our mask pin, and we can say, okay, here's his little baby shirt. And then we can say the shirt is going to go down here, and that'll be his collar, and then those will overlap. But let's see if we can't figure out a decent way. You know, I probably should have looked this up. I'm sure somebody's come up with a more elegant solution than I'm about to do, but we'll give it a shot. Control W, make that on one polygroup here. We'll go ahead and split this out. We'll do a delete, geometry modified topology, delete hidden. I'm just going to run a macro for polishing my polygroup borders here. And then I'm just going to have ZRemesher do the heavy lifting for me. So half, depth size down to 0, and we'll just ZRemesh this. The retopo of this kind of object, the traditional way, usually when I'm doing, if you're talking about the mech, as I'm modeling it with ZModeler, and the mech was done 100% in ZBrush, I'll use live boolean for details I don't need, that are just going to be baked. And then when I go to my game res, I just get rid of the live booleans. I pretty much have my ZModeler game res done. I optimize that and call it a day. Okay, so we've got our shirt kind of going here. So we're going to go Q Mesh Polygroup All. If you did want to split this down the middle, you can go to like bevel edge loop complete here. And then we can say maybe delete polygroup all. And then what you're going to have to do, we'll do another mirror and weld, is you have to mask this side out, pull it over. You can put buttons on there, whatever you need to do. But what we're concerned about is that collar. So let's give that a shot. So we'll go to Q Mesh Polygroup All. We'll give this a little thickness here because we want to have the shirt. And then for that collar, what I tried to do last time was say, okay, let's be smart about this. And the collar is going to attach from here all the way around. Because I was hoping I could use bridge functionality. Let's skip that one. Let's say it goes here. So now if I take this one out and we say Q Mesh Polygroup All, and we just Q Mesh this out, it's going to give us thickness, and it kind of looks like a collar, but it doesn't really go underneath. Now you could go through here and you could inset this and then collapse it and then push that back up, but that seems like kind of a hassle. So what I tried to do was take this one, hold down Control, and then, okay, so when you take this out, tap Alt, and then hold down Control so you get a new polygroup here. So you've got this here. Now ideally, because this gives us pretty much what we're looking for, minus bridging these things together. So ideally I could go through here and say, let's go ahead and mark these ones here. Just holding down Alt with our ZModeler brush, BZM. However, this, we'll go ahead and say delete polygroup all. Now on this one, same deal, here, here. And it's not going to work, I already know that, but I want to try it again just in case it does work. I'm an eternal optimist. Delete this. So now I'm going to go down here to display properties and turn on double real quick. Now if I could bridge these two holes, that would be excellent, because I could just go to bridge two holes, and I could say U, get bridge to U, and then you would pull up and give it some thickness, but it's just a complex enough shape to where it really just doesn't want to let's go forward one. Cooperate. So I mean, you could, let's see if we could do just one. So we'll do delete, yes, delete, and now if we bridge, got double turned on. Bridge, two holes, we got an easy hole here, and now these ones work fine. So I mean, you could conceivably bridge all the way down, like so, and then you could just weld the points together. Oh my god, okay. Use your mouse. For some reason, some of my ZModeler properties here, I have to use a mouse for. So you could just go through and go bridge, 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 delete, 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 delete. Weld, 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 weld. But boy, that sounds like a pain in the butt too. Let's try something else. So if we can get these polygons here to stick together, we can then just do a curve over that top part here. It's not going to be pretty, but who cares? So let's try this. Let's go in here. We'll do insert single edge loop, and then we'll do insert single edge loop. And now on the inside here, I'm going to say, let's try this. Oh, is this going to work? Maybe, because if we can bridge these two together, and again, it's not going to be great, but it's probably going to work a little nicer. In fact, what we may even do to help it out a little bit, let's do this. Control Shift, because we can always mirror and weld this back again later. So turn off X symmetry. Let's go ahead and get rid of half of this shirt here. We'll go ahead and delete hidden. And then we'll just run a close holes. Just close those holes up on the side there. Again, we don't need to worry too much about that. Oh, you know what? Let's try this. Let's go ahead, hit Control W, group by normals. And then now we can just go, because I think that normal angle will be heavy enough to where I can just mark this one. So now we can just say delete, polygroup all, we'll get rid of you, get rid of you. We can turn on double here. Let's see if this does the trick if I just do half. Let's say bridge two holes here to here. Oh, it still wants to twist. Okay, let's try this. Bridge two holes, spline circle, optimal curvature, optimal resolution. And again, there might be a tricky little thing in here. Pivot on clicked edge, align clicked edges. Yeah, it's a tall order. All right, and that's fair. So if we do this, let's take this one here. And again, there's probably just an easier box modeler way. I think we'll do that next. If this last little bit doesn't work, I'll just simply go through and extrude and then manually just scale down. That's probably the easiest way to do this, because then you're in total control of what you're doing. So it's not, you're not trying to do any fancy footwork. Let's say bridge 2 holes here to here. Man, it really does not want to bridge that when it goes on an arc. Did I change any stupid settings here? Oh yeah, probably that. All right, so we can Q mesh these. So we can go to Q mesh, single poly, and you can just stick these together. If you do Alt mark them first, it'll probably work a little bit faster, but you can just go through here. When in doubt, you can just bridge these things together. You can bridge single polys as well, but I don't think they'll weld, whereas Q mesh will go ahead and weld these for you. So we've already got this here, and then we'll just mark these ones like so. Again, this is more of a brute force here, but we can say Q mesh, polygroup all, and we'll just hold down shift and we'll kind of pull that up a little bit. So I don't know, it's kind of a collar, and you could just have this collar and then you could Q mesh this up and over and down the neck, and that's probably fine. But anyway, we'll just go ahead and just do a mirror and weld. Whoa, turn LSIM off. There we go, midline sewn up. So sorry, wish I had a better solution for you, but hopefully that'll work for you. Work on mostly 172 figures. Man, that's a small figure. Yeah, I guess you would have some issues with thickness and volume. I really don't know. Like if you're going to 3D print those out, boy, yeah, I guess just err on the side of making things way too thick. Like if you're going to do a sword at that scale, like make that sword more sausage shaped than sword shaped to get it to look. Oh, is my... Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I can fix that. Let's see. Boy, that's temperamental. Is that better? Yes, everything. That Mac was 100% done in ZBrush. Cool. Start doing sci-fi guns. Any tips? Yeah, so one really cool thing that I like for reference is, wait for it. We'll check this out too. Sorry, I'm getting off on tangents. Let's play it. Here. Yeah. So if I go over here to my list view here, and we're going to say, let's look at, you know, some of these things are really hard to find reference for. If we do, that's kind of a cool one. Let me see if there's anything, I don't know, whatever this one is. So you can go through here and wait for it. I should probably also turn the sound off. Oh, we can do a operation. So we're going to go through here, and this is just how this thing operates here. So you can kind of click on these things and they'll do their thing. You can also go through here and turn on, like, okay, here's where the bipod swings down. Here's the scope attachment. You unscrew that and you get rid of the handle and put that on there. Also, you can go into plastic mode. If you just want to see that, you can go to X-ray mode, and you can kind of see these. So when we go to like the reload, you can see how things are working. And also, if we're going to fire it, let's slow this down. So when we fire, you can see the mechanics of the internals working. But I don't like to do X-ray. You can also do cutaway. Does this one have cutaway? Some of them don't have certain things, but you do have click and hide here. So when you hold down Alt, that'll give you the name of these things, and then you can just go through here and hide what you don't want to see. And now, if we zoom in here and we play this, you can see you know, this thing comes forward and you can say, what is that thing? That's the bolt head, and that's the firing pin, and that's the safety lever, and the trigger, and all that good stuff. Magazine release. So, you know, the firing mechanism, you can kind of see how that works here, and then the trigger pops back, and then on the, I guess we can just say, okay, play it out. And then on the reload anim, you can go through here and you can see, okay, there's the mag release here, and then whoop, that drops down and comes back up, and then you can turn off, you can just hit all, and then you can see, okay, I just want to click and hide this thing, and now you can see how these mechanics work. And it's not just, let's go ahead and exit out of here. I mean, they've got vehicles in here, they've got dinosaur bones, and they've also got really, really hard to find reference for some of these things. Let me see, boy, let's try this one. Like I said, some of them have cutaway mode where it just slices it in half and you can see the internals. This one doesn't seem to have it either here, but we can do click and hide here. So yeah, when we go to fire this one, you can fire it 2x here. You can reload, and then you can fire it. So you can see this little lever right here. Yeah, what is that lever? Well, it's not going to give me a name for that. So some of these are a little bit more well documented than others. But it kind of gives you basic functionality if you want to kind of, again, go through here and just look at the mechanics of this. And also if you need reference for like the bottom of how these things look, these things are so hard to find a decent reference for, but really, really good mechanical working parts here. If we exit out of here, and we go to, if you wanted to do more automobile, we could grab maybe this Humvee. And you want to like look at the engine block and the swing arms and how those things work, even like how the latches on the back work. You can let that load up. You can extract the shirt. I like having better geometry because when you extract, it's just going to extract the underlying geometry and it'll cut awkward edges along here. So if you just Z-remesh it, usually gives me a little bit nicer geometry. R7, that might be a little old for R8's probably a better version. But 2018, I mean, obviously, you know, ZBrush upgrades are always free, so I'm using ZBrush 2018.1. Oh yeah, if he's still kind of being a weirdo, because I'm able on Restream to block that, but I think it just blocks it for me. So sorry about that, guys. I tried to do a Nightbot thing, but I don't think it's up and running. Would you build a base mesh for hard surface modeling? Did you build that in ZBrush or using 100% ZBrush? Now, that's not to say you can't. You can use Maya, Max, Moto, Blender. I'm going to get into Blender soon, is when I get a second to sit down and do it. Yeah, and again, again, I might have a more elegant solution. There's so many tools and techniques that, like I said, somebody else out there might have a better. Cool, alrighty. I think I'm all caught up. Yeah, World of Guns. Cool. Alrighty, actually, let me see if I can do all chats. Yeah, I don't have much control. Is that on YouTube? Let me see if I can. We'll get back to that head. So we've made a shirt for our little guy here. Looking, looking good. Let me see. Where is my? Oh my gosh, I hate having to deal with this stuff. I really do. Channels. So where is my live stream? You would think it would be just up, right? Come on, YouTube. Well, I can't find my own live stream. I can find I can find the one I uploaded last week, but I cannot put this in here. All right, well, thanks YouTube. I swear to God, between YouTube and Discord, I have the hardest time. All right, let's do this. All right, so we got this guy here. If we turn on our poly paint, we've lost our poly paint here, but I think somewhere in here, yeah, this is the head we were working on. So if we turn that back on, you can see here's our poly paint. If we want to knock that back a little bit, we can go over here to color, fill object, but first you're going to want to say, we can turn on RGB, drop your RGB intensity down, and then go to color fill, and you can just knock this back. Like so. Now, it doesn't mean you have to draw on your object. You don't have to poly paint or anything. If you just want to turn that off, you can go through here and you can make your corrections as needed. So what we were talking about earlier when we were doing the head stuff is we're going to go ahead and widen this jaw out a bit. And also when you're constructing this stuff, sometimes it's useful. I'm not going to worry too much about, let's also turn down our Z intensity on our smooth stronger there. You know, the intricate features of the face, because we can just knock in, you know, where the eyes are going to go. Let me make sure my lazy radius is off. It feels kind of weird. Let's turn off RGB. So you can kind of knock this out. I'm going to just kind of, again, put in these basic nose shapes here. And then make sure the mouth, always working in the round, the mouth is on a cylinder. That's good here. And then this mouth, I'll probably pull back just a little bit here. And then I'll go in here with my clay brush. And if you want the clay brush to act a little bit more like clay buildup or clay tubes, you can put in a little alpha and you can increase the intensity. This gives me a little bit of a softer stroke here. And then now we'll go ahead and just beef up these cheekbones just a little bit. And then we've got the side of the head here. And then in here, I'm just going to inflate out just a tiny bit there. So we've got the ridge line for the sides of the eyebrows up, and then this will come out a little bit further too. So you can kind of go through here and kind of move these things around. For our head here, we'll get the eyeballs in a second. For our head, I'm going to go into my Damien standard brush. We can just kind of carve the corners of the mouth in and just make it look like it's overlapping just a little bit here. And then we can go through here with our clay brush. So it's like Damien standard brush, move brush, and these little nodes down here. My clay brush feels kind of weird. It's like I'm not, hold on. Pull out my Wacom dub. Just didn't feel very responsive there. So let's go in our Damien standard. You can hold down Alt if you want to kind of pull up through here and then kind of push in. You can kind of do your lips like this. However, if you did want to like Z-remesh this and get nicer topology, you could just push that in as like a mouth bag and then Z-remesh it, and you could do your topology with your Z-remesher and stuff, which you may get into. Let's go ahead and widen that jaw just a little bit. And also underneath here, don't forget, there's a lot of stuff going on in here as far as your hyoid bone and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go through here and we're going to fatten that out just a bit. And we'll smoosh this in just a little bit here too. There we go. So our basic overall forms are kind of dialed in. Now for the ear, you could just go to like BI, brush insert body parts. And if you ever have an ear that you've already made, you could certainly just put that in there. These ears are okay. But let's go ahead and do a cylinder here. I'll just drop this in and we'll squish this down. Let's turn on LSIM so we can just pop this down here. Hold down Control Shift. I'm going to use a trim curve just to take off the front part of this thing here. And now I can rotate this like so. And again, it's going to be between the brow and the nose and halfway down the head, and tilted back at an angle a little bit, and then also tilted forward a little bit. So now that we got this kind of working, we can just position these like so, and you can go through here. And again, we'll sculpt these a little bit better. And if you want to keep them separate, that's fine. All you got to do is split them off. It should inherit the Dynamesh properties, which I keep turning off for some reason. Let's go back to our head here. Yeah, so I might have set these a little farther back here. Let's move these up a little bit so we can just Dynamesh those. This one, if you have poly paint turned off and you Dynamesh and you've turned your poly paint back on, so here we can Dynamesh this and then turn our poly paint off and Dynamesh and turn it back on. Your poly paint will disappear. So make sure if you do have a poly paint that you leave it on while you're Dynameshing. FYI. So we've got our ears kind of blocked in here. Let's make that a little bit lower. There we go. So now if we did want to Dynamesh these together, it's no big deal. We could take the head, merge it down. It's under your subtool merge menu, Dynamesh those together. And now you can go in here with your Damien standard brush. And this little top part here is going to curve inwards like so. And then that's going to go into the head. We can actually just use the move brush to kind of push that in a little bit. And then grab your clay brush here. And we'll build this part up. So again, that ear split into thirds, top, middle, bottom. This is going to sit right there in the middle. Then you're going to have your auditory meatus, or your whole of your head, you know, back here. Now, the halfway part of the head, we put his whole head in here. Usually I'm used to like this part here being the halfway, so actually a little bit further back is a little bit more comfortable for me. So we'll keep that. And then we'll go ahead and put this in. Let's turn off RGB so we don't need to actually fill in this stuff. Also, Shift, when you smooth, if you turn off Z-Add, you can actually go through here and just blur your poly paint, or you can turn on Z-Add, turn off RGB, and now you can just smooth your geometry under your poly paint. So use that to your advantage. And then we'll go ahead and dig this out a little bit here, like so. And then we'll go ahead and inflate this up here. And then we'll go through and we'll use our clay brush. And again, we'll take that zygomatic arch from the back here and just tie that right into our cheekbones. Our brow is going to step back to our upper eyelid, is going to step back to our lower eyebrow, is going to step back to our cheeks here. And then those are just going to tie right back into here. And you can actually build this corner up, little masseter muscles in there for your jaw. Something like that. What else? What else? What else? That's all fine. Let's turn off that poly paint there. Oh yeah, eyeballs. So I want to do some eyeballs. If you want to use, we'll use like a 16 or a 12 here, so you can kind of use the geometry of the eyeball to determine where the iris could be. It's probably more useful just to kind of build that in here. But you know, one eyeball width in between, one eyeball width out to the sides of the head. His head might still be a little bit narrow, but it's, I don't know, it might not be too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and split these off here. And then for the upper and lower lids, there's a million different ways to do this. You can do, there's a million different ways to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this off twice. And then for this top one here, we'll hold down Control Shift. We'll just go through here and we'll just trim off that top here, and we'll trim off that bottom here. And then we'll go through here and we'll say Q Mesh Polygroup All, and then hold down Shift. And then for this top one here, hold down Shift. And then I'm going to merge these eyelids together. And now I can just use these. Actually, let's do an auto groups. So those aren't vert welded, and then we'll do a quick mirror and weld. So since those aren't vert welded, we have two different polygroups here. You can isolate them by, you can control click these, and that'll go ahead and mask. You can move them separately, or you can use move topological, BM move topological somewhere in there. I usually just go down here to my auto masking and just turn that on. And if you don't like doing that, you can do mask by polygroups up to 100, or a combination of two, I suppose. So we can go through here and it'll be like, okay, this will be up a little bit, this will be down a little bit, and then this will be here. There we go. So you can kind of dial in how those eyelids are going to look. Let me go ahead and check in, make sure everybody's okay. Retopo a section of a shotgun where the barrel meets the body. I'd probably have ZRemesher take care of that for me. But really, just if you need to manually topologize something, even if you're rebuilding it for subdivision surfaces, you could take care of those transitions a couple different ways. I'd have to see exactly what you're talking about, but cool. Take an crochet class, teach out the measures I learned back in the day. I mean, I teach anatomy, so that kind of keeps me a little bit honest. I don't teach, it's not, I mean, I do have this guy. So I have at work, So here's my at-home version of this thing. So we can kind of use this. Oh boy, he's an invisible guy here. Wow, I don't know why he really wants to be keyed out. He's not green. But anyway, I do have Ecrochet model anatomy male muscular system scale 1 to 3. And then I got the red painted one at work. And then in class we have the red painted one. Not super useful. I mean, it is super useful for like face stuff and head stuff. As far as skull features are usually a little bit more useful than, you know, this type of stuff. So Gemini is where I teach anatomy, and we do basically superficial anatomy, forms, body in motion, and then we dive in a little bit deeper, and that's proportions too. And then you dive a little bit deeper into the muscles, origins, attachments, bony landmarks, and then into the skeleton, and then all the way back out again. And we have like little maquettes and stuff too. So it's a fun class, I think. I don't know if the students have that much fun. I have fun. So here and here, we can do that. And if we're thinking that's okay, I'm going to actually up the resolution on this head just a little bit because we're going to be playing around here. And you notice that when I go to up my resolution, I'll hold down Shift and just kind of touch my mesh and re-dynamesh. Sometimes when you're moving around your resolutions, it can get a little bit non-responsive. So if that ever happens, just check that out. So, and here... And also, if you want to move around the eyeballs and the eyelids all at the same time, just turn on this move multiple here, and then hold down Control Shift, and then you can just like isolate these two subtools here, and now you can, you know, move them around, rotate them a little bit here, like so, and then hold down Control Shift. You can unhatch everything and then turn that off. So just an easy way instead of going through here with like a move brush. And we'll turn off topological here. You know, go and have to move multiple subtools. That'll just do it for you. So now that we have that, we can go in here a little bit and kind of start refining the planes of the nose just a bit. And this is going to curve up and underneath, and this is going to curve down and around. So again, we're just kind of marking in, you know, where those plane changes are happening. And if you really want to, you know, mess around with your plane changes, you feel free to go in with your H-polish brush. And you can just H-polish the sides here. And then, oh, you know what, where that may have been? I was thinking about something else. I think I know where it is. We'll move on from this in just a second. Let me go to my personal. There it is. Oh man, how come I can never remember how to use damn Discord? There it is. Let's download this one. Okay, I got you, Birdie. I was like, you know what? I bet I know where that is. Let's see, show in folder here. Let's take these two, and we'll move this to our desktop here. Alrighty, so we got this, and then, you know, at this point, it's really just a matter of going through and refining your facial features here. So if we want to put in, you know, dial in some cheekbones, and kind of depending on the character, you know, so again, you're looking at like how much gauntness and how much meat is around the face here. And then if you want to you can retopologize this using Z remesher, which we may revisit. Go in here with our clay brush and standard brush and start dialing in these little mouth bags here. And then these will go over and be, let's go ahead and build this up a little bit here. I remember him being a little bit more stern looking before I went through and just smoothed everything out. Also from the side view here, we can build this up a little bit here. The little jaw muscles here. Let's smooth this out a little bit. Looks like that ear is getting a little chewed up. So here, we'll go in with our standard brush, and the intensity should be fine, maybe a little lower. And then again, this will curve in, and then this will be pulled out here. It does feel like I am losing some responsiveness on my Wacom. It's kind of pissing me off. And we'll go ahead and inflate this a bit here. Oh, like we were saying before, this doesn't need to be so round. And if you ever need to just put something in there, I'll usually just grab a sphere. If you need like a spackle here, you can be like, this needs stuff here. So then you just go through and you can move this out and scooch this around here. Like so. And then when you Dynamesh, I'll fill that in a little bit. And then over the ear, again, depending on the skin and stuff like that, you can have that kind of coming over a little bit maybe. There we go. And then you've got this shape here, and this one here, and then this will swing around this way. Your helix and anti-helix, and the concha here. It's actually been a while since we've done head anatomy. We've been in the body anatomy for so long in class that head anatomy is a fun part. I need to get reacquainted here a little bit. And then here underneath the lip, we can go ahead and move these lips around. We can pull these lips around. We can also just go through and kind of sculpt again with holding down Alt. And we can. It doesn't have to be like he needs big, full, luscious lips, but just getting the lip shape dialed in a little bit is sometimes useful. And then how the lip kind of turns back around. And like we were talking about, if you wanted to go in here and start doing the planes of the face a little bit more, you could go through and you can dig in. Oh yeah, we're doing stylized heads. So if you really want to push, let's go ahead and push that a little bit. All you need to do is go in again with your H-polish brush or your trim dynamic, and you can just start polishing these things down. You're still going to want to find, your landmarks here, like so, and then just go through here with your H-polish brush, and you can just knock these things back and have a little bit of fun. Like you can actually go through here, and if you want to divide these up, again, depending on how stylized it is, it could just be like the nose is a rectangle, and that's about it. Or, it's got a little bit more form, but it is still, highly polished here, kind of like an Oscar statue. Kind of depends on what you want to see. And we're going to tuck this lower lip in just a bit here. And then we can kind of roll this out just a bit. And then also, if you can hold down Alt, you can kind of pull up just very lightly this little ridge on the top of the lip here and catch some light. And you can also go through with your pinch brush. You can pinch these things together. You can make pretty drastic changes if you need to, thin these things out. You can pull this way, you can pull this way, and that'll thin it out in two different directions. You can thin out his nose, you can thin out his nose this way or this way. But also just going through here and using your move brush. And you can also, you can either go back to your base mesh or you can duplicate this off and you can do variants. We go into solo mode here. You can kind of play around with like how caricatured you want to make him, or you can take his chin away if you want to, and we can thin him out just a bit. And looks like a guy from Snatch or Train Spotting. Sometimes fun to play around with. Okay. Let's see if we can cut up here. Cool. And if I miss anything, I apologize. Suggest learning different software than ZBrush for unwrapping UVs or ZBrush UV Master worth learning. I mean, it's worth learning in that it'll take you probably 10 seconds because it just does everything for you. But yeah, UVs, box modeling, UVs, retopology, that can be done. I mean, there's so many things that is just, yeah, and also speaking of Houdini, if you really want an automated solution, go to my YouTube channel, the Houdini Game Dev Toolset. That'll walk you through your own automated pipeline to get stuff in. Cool. And if you want to know weapon creation, there's the Sci-Fi Pistol series that'll walk you through one technique or a couple techniques to do that. I also talk a little bit about it in my ZBrush 2018 demos, so go check those out. So anyway, we got our head here, and we can go ahead and go out of solo mode. So I'm going to move forward with this one. He's got he's got the right personality for me. I'm going to move those eyes in just a tiny bit. So we're going to go into move multiple here. We'll hash those two. And we'll go ahead and push these in just a little bit there. There we go. And actually, we'd probably rotate these just a little bit. And sometimes it'll mess up, and you just got to go back in here and move these things around. Okay, I think this will work. So what we're going to do, we've got this head here, and I'm going to merge that down on my eyelids, control drag, and now we've got our eyelids in here, and now we can just integrate those right back into the head. So if we want to, we can go through here, and we've got the kind of the bags of the eye here, and there's actually going to be some skin here, and then your cheekbones are going to be lifted here, and then you're going to have this down. And again, it's just refining these shapes here. So we go through here, and we kind of dial this in, and then dial this in, and we'll maybe widen the bridge of that nose out just a bit here, and we can exaggerate the labial fold just a bit here. And kind of, again, it's just the personality of the face that you're going for, and just kind of blocking these things in. And then we'll go down here, and we can kind of play around with cutting these shapes in here. And again, if you're doing a very highly super stylized face, you know, feel free to really dig these things in and really delineate the plane changes here. Just hold down Alt, and then let go, and then cut in, and then go back in here with your clay brush and really build these things out like so. And I mean, that curve of that mouth is just outrageous, but that's, you know, okay if you're doing exaggerated stuff. And then we'll go in here with our clay brush. We'll build this up a little bit here. And then the top lid here, we can kind of dig this in. And if you need to ever, like, because we can dig this in here, but if you need a mask, you can mask this out like so, and then you can just drop this. Now, if you Dynamesh again, you're going to lose that overlap here. So at this point, if you're going to be doing this type of stuff, I would ZBrush to build that in as a skin fold or a skin crease. And if you're going to be ZBrushing, go to my YouTube channel, or ZBrush for Illustrators is another good one. I just kind of use that technique. If we go to my YouTube channel, we just do like search for retopology. Retopology, masking, and polygroups. Let's do head. There you go. Polygroup, head, and ZBrush and cleanup is how we do the polygroups there. And you can make mouth bags and stuff too if you type in mouth bag. Anteater mouth bag, creating a mouth bag with ZBrush, mouth bag and nostril creation. So we've done this before. This is nothing new, fresh, seasoned Pavlovich workshop folk. So anyway, you know, building up your shapes, and then you know, let's bump this resolution up just a little bit more. So when we go through here and we start doing our highly stylized work, and again, I usually err on the side of realistic first, just to kind of dial in my shapes. It's just a little bit easier for me to kind of go through here. And let's knock the intensity down just a bit here. Go through here and kind of build these things up. And I'll go in here with the Damien standard brush. So get your big shapes dug in there and built out. And we'll go ahead and just kind of plump up this. And also, instead of the clay brush, a lot of times use your inflate brush as a little bit of a softer transition. If you're trying to do big, broad changes, inflate and pinch can be your friend. Now watch pinch if you have a mesh that you don't want to, if like a ZBrush, it'll do some weirdo things to your geometry. Just FYI. But here, and then you can go through here with your H-Polish brush and your Trim Dynamic. H-Polish is going to maintain edges. Trim Dynamic is going to destroy edges. So you can go in here with your Trim Dynamic, and you can just start, you know, making your decisions on how planar and where you want those planes to fall. You can also hold down Alt, and that'll Trim Dynamic out to a surface, and then let go of Alt. That'll Trim Dynamic in. Same thing with H-Polish. So you're going to see with Trim Dynamic, I can go through here and I can just put a bevel down the side of that nose with my sculpt here, like so, or like down here, I can just put a bevel across here. With my H-Polish, I can't do that. It's going to want to pick one side or pick the other, and that's going to just hone and refine your edges here. So again, if you're simplifying these shapes, you don't want this cut in maybe, just go through here and just simplify. And you can go through here and you can also mask and clip. You can hold down Alt with H-Polish and let go of Alt. So again, depending on while you're stylizing how simple you want this thing to be, let's go through here and stylize it. And then once you've stylized it, and by that I just mean we're just polishing the planes of the face, and this is actually a good exercise too, even if you're not doing stylized modeling, just to find the planes of the face and make sure that everything's working and positioned where you want it to. And we'll go ahead and just do the temple real quick here so we can really delineate where those forms turn. And even, like I said, if you're doing stylized work or not stylized work, once you're done finding the planes of the face, then you just go back through with your smooth brush and call it a day. So we'll go ahead and, again, we're just simplifying these forms a bit. And I'm just using H-Polish. I usually overshoot my H-Polish brush size. See how big it is? And then I just use a very light touch to go through and do that. Because if you make your H-Polish brush really small, it's just going to give you a warbly surface. You make your H-Polish brush really big and hold down Alt under these undersurfaces here. Might give you a little bit of a better result there. What else are we going to talk about? This stylizing, how stylized you want it's up to you. Oh yeah, and at this point, once you got the planes of the face in, just going back in with a smooth and then making this more naturalistic. At least your planes are correct and everything's reading correctly. And then you're almost kind of just going through and refining your naturalistic face. So I'll leave that up to you. And again, you can make it look like a wood carving all the way to just slightly caricatured stylized. There's a lot of different ways you can go about that. Anyway, everybody's still good. Oh, and if you do want like a preview of like a skin shader here, you can go into, let's do skin shader 4 is somewhere in here, right? Or am I crazy? There we go, skin shader 4. And then we can go up here to our render properties. We can turn on wax preview, and then over in our material, we can say, give me a little bit of a preview of. And if you wanted to poly paint this, that's perfectly fine as well. You can take this one here. We can turn on, go to our standard brush. We'll turn on RGB, and we can start just dialing in. Actually, let's do fill object, and then we'll, oops, RGB intensity up, color, fill object, drop that RGB intensity down. And again, since it's, stylized head, we can just kind of paint in the zones of the face here, a little maybe golden up here, and then maybe purple, blue, and greens, and oranges, and I don't know, knock yourself out. If you ever want to sample from here, you can do that as well. And again, depending on how hard you want to push that, it's kind of up to you. But we'll just kind of touch in a little bit here. And then sculpt your heart out there. Cool. And again, if I miss anything, I apologize. Oh, good point. So when we were stylizing this guy, I'm going to switch back to MacCap Gray here. When you were stylizing this guy, if you go into your move brush here and you go to curve, you can turn on AccuCurve. And what that does is allow you to pull 2 points here. So you know what? Let's back this up. Let's go back to where we were. Super sharp. So yeah, if you want to pull out to a sharp point here, like on the ear, if we just have our move brush with AccuCurve turned off, it's just going to pull out to a nice soft curve. If you turn AccuCurve on, it'll allow you to pull out to a point. So you can go through here and you can kind of pull these things out to more geometric shapes here. You can kind of play around with that a little bit. Same thing for the nose. So if you want to take these and kind of pull out to a point, that's just an easier way to do that. And all that is AccuCurve. If you save this brush off, you go to Brush, Save As, and what I do is throw it into ZBrush 2018, Z Startup, ZBrush Presets. You see I have Move Accu in there, so when I start up ZBrush, and you're going to see, whoops, Brush M. Move Accu is here, so I can assign a hotkey to it. So all I do is go to my Move Accu hotkey, and then I can go through here, and we can, like, you know, if we want to do like a clean sweep down, it'd be like, okay, I want to H polish this down to this corner, and we want this to go to a sharp corner, right? So we'll go ahead and just polish these things, and then you can go through here with a little pinch brush a little bit, and then also go in here with your Move Accu brush and just pull these out to like a corner here. And you can pull this in to a corner here. You can pull this in. So that just gives you a little bit more corner control. And you can also, if you want to, like, okay, I want this to be a straighter line, just go in here with your Damien Standard, hold down Alt, and then go back in with your clay brush and just build up to that, and then go back with your H polish brush and just build up to that wall, like so. And you can divide this up into polygroup zones and then Z-remesh it. Or you can just manually retopologize it. Probably at this level, I'd probably just manually retopologize it. Should go pretty quick because it's pretty obvious like where you want those pieces to go. And then I'll switch back to the move brush if I don't want to do pull to points. I can just do a little bit softer pulls, like so. Want to rig this model? Would you sculpt the mouth cavity inside ZBrush or do it in the topology stage? Probably within ZBrush. Just pop in the mouth bag. Like I said, my YouTube channel, mouth bag, just search mouth bag and there's all that stuff. So mouth bag and then retopologize, and then that way, you know, you could even go in and do expressions and stuff in ZBrush. In fact, if you want to play around with blend shape plugin, if we go here to my videos, oh boy. These are some new videos that are coming out soon as I get a chance to write the intro video. So keep your eyeballs out for all. Look at all those. Look at all those videos. But more recently here, where is my ZBrush Summit 2018? Oh, there's 97 of those damn things. Do this. Go to blend shape. ZBrush Maya blend shape plugin is a really fun one, so you can use that as well once you've retopologized and you got all that good stuff. Always export normal maps, but after importing them in some KeyShot, they become really vanished, and I lose all the details. You bake them in here. I would consider maybe just doing an arbitrary bake from your high res to your low res in Painter. I don't usually bake my maps in ZBrush. It's been a while, but it should bake your normal maps fine. I think. Cool. Yeah, and if you guys want to walk through of that, again, if you want to change any particular brush setting, like we got the move brush, and we want to do an AccuCurve brush version, go to Move, Clone, AccuCurve, Brush, Save As, save it in that folder. If you don't use it that often, you want it to just show up here in your brush menu. That's going to be in your ZBrush 2018. So instead of doing Z Startup Brush Presets, just go to ZBrush 2018 ZBrushes and just throw them in here. All these folders in here are what shows up in your lightbox, and they don't have to be actually in this location. If you don't like putting things, if you click on here, you see, if you don't like putting things in your C program files, just put a shortcut in this brush folder, and it'll shortcut to wherever you want. So you can go to your C drive, or D drive, whatever you want. Brush folders, new animation does. ZBrushes, ZData. Yeah, okay, so we can walk through that real quick. Essentially, ZBrush 2018, Z startup brush presets. These ones are ones that are just extra brushes you want to bring into ZBrush that you want to have started up with ZBrush. You can assign hotkeys to them. The ZBrush 2018 ZData brush presets, I would copy paste these so you have a copy and old or whatever, just because if you go in here and change these are the ones that actually start up with ZBrush. So if you're ever in ZBrush and you want to make a change to, say, your actual, like the real move brush, and you say, you know what, the only time I ever want to use AccuCurve is when I use my move brush. I don't want a regular move brush. You can turn it on in here, go to brush, save as, and then you will save that into, geez, I don't want to keep shutting that folder down. That's going to be your ZData brush presets. These are the ones that launch with ZBrush. And then underneath Pixologic 2018 ZBrushes, these are your lightbox. Cool. And again, if I miss something, I apologize. I'm scrolling through a lot of these things. Okay, you guys are caught up. Cool. Oh, thanks. No, I'm not getting paid for this, but you know, it's fun for me to do for a bit. Keyshot 8, I haven't touched at all. I don't even have it installed, so I won't be able to do that. A weave of carbon fiber using Noisemaker. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that with, if you wanted to have actual geometry to bake from, you can use NanoMesh. And then if you wanted to use, probably underneath, let's do surface noise. And we'll use the noise plug. Now, if you have UVs, it's a little bit better. You can control how these things work a little bit better. But if we go over here to our weave, and then we say, let's mix base noise down to 0, our strength up, and our plug-in scale down. There's your carbon fiber. Now, because we don't have UVs, you know, it's just going to do a planar projection based on how we loaded up the model and turned noise plug on. But yeah, this is a little carbon fiber head here. Hit OK. Now, again, this is just a surface noise preview, but you can, you know, have a layer and morph target and all that good stuff. The dynamic subdiv button doesn't work if it's a custom button in the UI. Really? Do I have that? I have dynamic turned on. Or at least I have that in my custom UI. So if I go to like a cylinder, edit, make polymesh 3D, and then we go through here and we say insert single edge loop here. We go to insert single edge loop, grab this one, and then maybe insert multiple edge loops, interactive elevation, and then pull this here. And then we do a crease tolerance dynamic. Seems to work on my machine. You talking about this button here? Cool. I'm going to be streaming for probably another 30 minutes. Cool. Software used for UVs: Hedis, Maya, Modo, Max, ZBrush. Kind of depends on what I'm using, where I'm at. Haven't used Blender yet. I'm trying to get into it. I have to sit down and learn it, and got some other stuff. So, stylized heads. Let's go to my desktop here. Well, let's see. Where did those go? No, I threw them on my desktop here. It's an OBJ. Oh, it's Z project. Okay. So here, so with a Z project, if I was to go in here to my actually, you know what? Let's save this out if we ever want to go back to it here. I'm going to turn off that surface noise here. So we're making our little weirdo guy here. We're going to save as. I'm going to throw him in with our other streaming old man here. And if you did want to, you know, have a little fun drawing over this guy, or it's like, you know what, this is a character I want to explore a little bit more, always feel free to go back into, just real fun, just real quick, go to your document here, go to your paint stop. We can drop this transparency down, and then you can go through here with your pencil, and you can start, playing around with, here's the midline. Whoa, did I lose my? I guess not. Here, so you can kind of start exploring. Let me color depth that down a little bit. There we go, way down. So, say we want to kind of go through and explore, maybe put some big bushy eyebrows on this guy. Maybe a little mustache. And also, going in here and just kind of playing around their features if you wanted to. Like, his eyes are really deep set. This nose is pretty intense. You can go through here and just start playing around with. Sorry, I don't use this program that much, but you can kind of start going through and maybe putting in some eyeball. Well, here goes back to the kind of dig these things in a little bit here. Corners of the mouth can be a little darker. And then you've got the 3 lobes of the mouth here, and then you got the 2 lobes of the mouth on the bottom here. We can kind of maybe exaggerate this. We can pull this up. And then on this side here, and again, this is a really easy way. If you just have head blockouts, obviously the 3/4 view is already kind of set up for you. There's, the cheekbones and how wide these things are going to come around. So what you want to pull in, what you want to exaggerate, what you want to fix. This is also another way to kind of see where you might be having some problems with your mesh. And like I said, oh, you know what? I took it out of perspective mode, so that's probably not the greatest thing in the world, but go through here. Pop this thing in. We need to put a little bit more of that scallop in there. These curved lines are probably a little bit much, even for a stylized model. I don't know if I would have those in there. And then here, and then that little sternal notch here, and then this head goes down to the clavicle here, and then our traps probably need to be built out quite a bit more here. So we got our little head here, like so. Yeah, so we can drop this transparency all the way down, and you can just start drawing, a little bit of your head, a little bit more. You can kind of see a little bit better going through here. And then you get to go to, what else we got in here? We got charcoal. Let's drop that color depth way down on this charcoal here. You can start blending some of this in. And also there's more stuff in here. So you can block charcoal, willow charcoal. Your pencil, you have different types of pencils in here. You got pastels, markers, airbrush, pen, and ink. If you want to ink this guy up. Watercolor is a cool one too. So again, it's just kind of built into ZBrush. So have a little bit of fun with that. So once we're done with this, we can say exit, and we can pick it up. And it will draw on your head if you wanted it to, but of course you can just go to your subtool and turn off poly paint and get rid of all that. But if you want that on, you've got that available to you. Cool, going down through here. How do you get inspired to work with ZBrush? I always get lazy. Yeah, I'm probably the laziest person on the planet. I do have, in my ArtStation page here, boy, I got to go through my notifications. Let's go to my profile. If you go to my blog, here, I can link you directly to, do I need a college degree? Who knows? Motivation, inspiration. So let's say copy link address. There's a whole section on motivation, inspiration. Cool, cool. Alrighty, let's check out. We can do a little bit more body study here. Bertram was nice enough. He helps me out a lot with my Discord because boy, I'm the worst. Remember I said about being lazy? That's me. So now if I did go in here and I had the comma key and I go into my projects, the reason I save these things out that I want to keep is just because loading up a project is going to completely remove anything. And then, so we've got a project here. We can go to File, Open, Desktop, Project. And then we've got I think we've got an OBJ polymesh sphere here. Yeah, so we got the little body we can kind of mess around with. And again, did it keep killing my, no. What is it doing? Clay brush, standard brush. It just killed my hotkeys. Okay. Man, I don't know what's going on today. I'm having all sorts of problems. Oh yeah, here's the World of Guns we were talking about. Oh yeah, we were waiting for this to load up. So again, if you want to go to click and hide, you can go through here, and it's like, I want to see the engine block. So I'm going to hold down Alt, and you can see what the name of that stuff is. All in here, so there's the engine assembly, and the air horn, and the grill, and all that good stuff. Washer tank. And then the functionality of this one. This one's not as involved as some of the, well, maybe it is. Minigun installation. That goes in there. And then the little ammo goes right here. Looks like that poor guy misses out on his leg room. And then lights, of course. Bush guard. Screw those in there. Spare wheel. Let me take that off. Minigun fire. Woo! Backdoor. Cool. And again, just hold down Alt and get rid of these things, and you can go in here and see like left rear axle, control arm here, poly surface 3054 exhaust pipe. So, you know, and you get all of this really good reference down here. Again, you know, these swing arms and stuff, and the engine assembly and gearbox and how this thing, transfer case, propeller shaft, all these things, rear differential, right axle, all this stuff's really cool to kind of go through and check out. And again, you can hold down Alt and get rid of these things. You can also go into X-ray mode. There's usually different X-ray modes you can click through. So check that out. Oh, I never clicked on ZBrush, sorry. Building things out like the arms and the hands out. Yeah, just insert primitives brush is what I would do. And coming up soon, well, no, that'll be kind of locked down. Let me go into my quick saves here. Not recovered. Here's my quick save. There we go. Let's switch this to, do I have any humanoid body stuff? I have like muscle body stuff. I don't really have any. Really good reference for this would be like, if you're brave enough, like obese beach guy is always a good one to Google. You get some really good stuff, reference for this type of thing. And you go through and you kind of see how the body reacts and stuff. And I'm so lazy. First thing I'm going to do is mirror and weld, just because, again, I'm lazy. And I'll do any asymmetry I'll do later, or if you're like me, you'll forget to do asymmetry. Like on my commander, you can see his abs are perfectly symmetrical, which is, again, can't overemphasize how lazy I am. Now, in your messaging, what you want this creature to be, I usually, this kind of feels straight up and down. So what I'll do is I'll exaggerate. And if that's the look you're going for, that's fine. Just make sure you're doing it for a meaningful reason. What I'll do is I'll kind of give him a little bit more of a neck, and then this is leaning forward, this is coming back. And then again, even though he's obese, he's still going to have, you know, that kind of curve to his body here. So he can still have stuff spilling out and spilling over, but he's still going to be following. It's just kind of like a more appealing, let me turn on and go into Dynamesh here. This kind of more of appealing thing. So now also here is where the anterior superior iliac spine would be right here, and that would be a pretty heavy landmark. That's where your pelvis kind of stops, and then your obliques fold over this. Now, these aren't like muscular obliques, which will still on a male will kind of spill out because, let's go back into paint stop. I am just a paint stop fool today. Sure. Drop this transparency down. Go to pencil. So on the male body, you've got your midline here, and then it's probably, again, it's speaking generalities here, it's going to be more of a taper here because your rib cage and your pelvis are about the same width. Female rib cage would be a little shallower, a little more tilted forward, a little wider. So on the male, you're going to have kind of this look here, but even then as the obliques, and again, the rib cage will be wider because the obliques are just going right over the rib cage. You have two parts of your obliques. You have the upper and lower and the flank pad here. So here's your anterior superior iliac spine, and that kind of gives you, and your abs, your rectus abdominis here is going to go from your pecs straight down, and then your belly button. So 1 heads down is the chest line, 2 heads down is the belly button, 3 heads down, or 4 heads down is the midline here. So this is more of that look you're going to get, and your obliques are going to come out over and come over the top of that iliac crest here, and you're going to get more of a stomach shape like this. Again, speaking in pure generalities here, there's many different body types. That's what's cool about people is, you know, not everybody's Superman, not everybody's Jessica Rabbit. There's all sorts of different body types, but essentially it's that V taper for the body here is what you end up looking for. And then, you know, a little bit narrower hips. The legs are going to touch, you know, on the male, that kind of thing. On the female, again, if you're going with a little bit of a thinner or lighter, more delicate, again, just generalities, and then a wider hips here to your great trochanter here, you're going to end up with more of this type of shape, and the obliques are going to get pulled out this away. You get the gluteus medius a little bit, and you're going to get more of this shape for the female. So it's a little more, as opposed to this shape, you're more like out here, and there could be a gap in here. Midline. So on this guy here, you know, it still has these landmarks here, but it's going to be, these obliques are really going to spill over. And in fact, the belly is probably going to be more like this. Looking at my beach guys. Yeah. So even on this guy here, that spine is really close to the surface, but, you know, that overlap is happening on the side there. So, and again, it kind of depends on the person too. The obliques may not be that prominent, but the belly could be really big. And then your landmarks are going to move too. So like on the male, it's like, oh, 3 heads down is the belly button. Well, on this guy, 1 head down, 2 heads down the chest line, 3 heads down is the belly button. Well, it's going to be down here because, again, these things are being pulled down. That's just surface anatomy. You can't dictate, or even the chest line here. If the chest line is here, but these things are coming down here, it's kind of mastia, you know, you can't dictate those headlines. They're just general guidelines here. And of course, creature heads are totally fun. Let's give him like a little shape here, and it's like, it looks like he's got kind of a skull shape here, so it's almost like a skull kind of built in to just a really fat body here. And again, resolving this is going to be interesting. I'm not sure exactly how to do that, but that's just something you can kind of play with. But we can exit out of there, pick it up. And we don't really need that poly paint. It's not doing much for us, so we can turn that off. Maybe, Bertram, I'm not sure. Yeah, because it seemed like my hotkeys, I'm not sure if the Z project like overrode my hotkeys, but that doesn't seem right. I think my ZBrush is having weird issues today. Do you shortcut the geometry menu to the pop-up on the mouse cursor? Yeah, so my, is it still busted? Pav custom, hold on. Control Alt A. Yeah, I have it set up to that, but now all of my hotkeys are gone. That's weird. Okay, so if you want to see where your hotkeys are, go into ZBrush Data 2018, Z Startup Hotkeys, and if I double click here, holy moly, there we go. So now my hotkeys are fine, like my HPolis is Alt-H, ZModeler is Alt-Q, but however, when I start up ZBrush, Alt-H does that, Alt-Q doesn't do anything, Alt-S doesn't do anything. You know what? It might the Z project might be doing something weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Save As to my desktop, test. I don't know why it would be like overwriting my hotkeys here. Save As, test 2. Yeah, we'll restart ZBrush again. Let's see if that does it. Bad Bud says, hey Mike, what is, I always heard about it but never actually saw how it works, not even sure what it is. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. So shout it out again if you can. The weapon vehicle thing was World of Guns. So that's on Steam, you can download it. Really, really good reference. And Hannibal, like Hannibal says, anterior superior iliac spine is the underneath the oblique. And the posterior is in the back. Yeah, so okay, yeah, if that's what you're talking about, we can look at that. So if you have nothing loaded up, well, let's see first if my hotkeys came back. Clay brush. Yeah, we're back in. Okay, yeah. So for some reason that Z project was destroying that. But if we have nothing loaded on our screen and we go back into our stop, we can just draw. There's not going to be, and you also have like this grains, really nice. So in here, you have your bucket for your pelvis here, and you know, divide the bucket into thirds here. But this little spine here is going to be, and it goes down here. So your rectus abdominis kind of goes and connects to the bottom part of here, and you've got your ischium, and then you've got your little cup here where your femur goes, head of the femur, your great trochanter, and all that stuff. So these are the wings that kind of come around. Let me see if I can drop that color depth down a bit, and that size down just a tiny bit. So let's go here. Your sacrum's back here, all that good stuff, and that'll kind of dot through here. So here's the front of this, and actually let's go to our eraser. I just want to knock this back just a little bit. There's probably a better way to do that. So you have your top and your base layers here, and you have tracing images you can bring in. You can turn that on and off. You can also turn the grain on and off if you're not a big fan of that, and the transparency as well. But so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, so here's the posterior spine. Here's the anterior spine here. And then these landmarks here, when you put your obliques in here, so here's our rib cage sitting here, like so. And then here's that neck right in here, and then here's your shoulder line, here's your clavicles. They're going to go back up here, and then your chromium process from your scapula. Man, I need to shave. My mustache and my beard bugging the hell out of me. So anyways, we got our sternum. It's going to go halfway down minus the xiphoid process. And then these are going to come back around, and then you've got your head of the humerus in here, and a lateral medial epicondyle, and your ulna and your radius and all that good stuff. So anyway, your chest line here, and your pectoralis major is going to attach to your sternum, and then the clavicle, and then the ribs a little bit too, and they're going to come up here and they're going to fold over just underneath the head of the humerus, about the width of your wrists, and then your deltoid is going to attach to your clavicle here, and then around the chromium process down the spine of the scapula and about halfway down the arm here. The obliques, if we follow that nipple line out from the sternal notch here, you can kind of start seeing where the serratus anterior attached. Serratus anterior, oh, you know what? You guys might like this one. Let's go to, sorry Bertram, I was gonna spend more time on yours. You know what? I might even just do a live stream in the middle of the week. We'll just have a little bit of fun. But we go to zygote body here, and we can go here. We can say, you know what? We don't want to see any skin, any organs, any nervous system stuff, don't need any of that. So if we want to see how these things are working, we can go, okay, show me that pectoralis major, and in fact, get rid of all the other muscles here. So you can see, again, that pectoralis major down the sternum, a little bit of the spine, a little bit on the clavicle, and then it goes and flips over just underneath here. Bring our muscles back, and we want to see where the deltoid goes. Again, clavicle, spine of the scapula, down to about halfway down the arm. Oh, this one seems to be a little bit higher than that. I think really, generally speaking, goes down a little bit lower than that, I think. But anyway, we can pull this back up, and then we can click off here. So this will go through and it'll tell you all sorts of cool stuff. Now, the cool thing about the serratus anterior is, number one, it actually dictates quite a lot of the back shape of your lats, because your lats are very thin muscle. So the lats are going to go connect up into this armpit here and swing over just the bottom tip of those scapular muscles, and then the serratus anterior is actually going to bulge out and make the lats kind of swing this way. So when let's draw that in a second. So anyway, the serratus anterior also, if we look at it, is the ones you can see, even a very lean person, are a little more parallel. And then your obliques here just go up diagonally, and then they kind of curve out here, and then this is your flank part of your obliques there. And then your lats here, and again, your lats tuck up into your armpit here. I think the front part of the humerus there. And then down the spine, and then you got your aponeurosis, I think, right through here. And your chaps go over that. And then your infraspinatus, teres major, teres minor, all in through here. All the really cool stuff. There's your pecs back. So all the really cool stuff in here. It's a really neat way to kind of go through and kind of see how these things originate and insert in 3D. And you can kind of dig a little bit deeper. The other cool thing about this serratus anterior in particular is it goes to your ribs, and then it connects to the inside back of your scapula. So when you pull your arm forward, you pull your arm back. You know, you just think of these muscles contracting and then pulling your scapula forward, because it's, you know, these things are pretty static, but then your scapula moves. So when you contract those serratus anterior muscles, it squeezes them. It's going to pull that arm forward, your scapula forward. So yeah, that's a really fun one. Definitely check that out. Yeah, so there's that. So anyway, like we were talking about, these are going to be a little bit more parallel. Your lats are going to go up in your armpit here, and then your obliques are going to tuck right up into here. And then again, like we were talking about, your rectus femoris is going to come down here and attach the bottom part, not the very bottom, but the bottom third of your pelvis here. Your abs here, if we're looking at it from the front, you got your belly button here. And then you've got your six-pack. I'm sure everybody watching, including me, just has an amazing six-pack abs, right? And then you've got your thoracic arch here. So you've got your abs start doing this kind of number, like this. And of course, everybody's different. You're going to have some abs that are higher, even bodybuilders. You know, you're looking for that symmetry, but nobody's, I shouldn't say nobody. Most people aren't super symmetrical here. So you kind of got an ab shape like that. And then the obliques kind of go over here. And again, what we're talking about, the flank pad comes out, and it's going to go over that spine a little bit. So here, and then bulge out a little bit here. And you've got that kind of look. So anyway, we'll exit out of there. Yeah, I checked the caps lock, and it wasn't that. There was something about that Z project that was just destroying my... Yeah, if you want to see more information on, go to my playlist, and then, excuse me, Intro to ZBrush Part 2 goes through all of the custom UI, custom hotkeys. You can just check that out real quick. Work on cyber body, relatively clean panel lines. Polygroup doesn't pick them up right, and I really can't do it manually since I own a small tablet and it's super sensitive. That for panel stuff, maybe try panel loops. There's also a panel loops plugin that you can check out. That might be the way to go with that, maybe. How do you get to know small objects like the bottom of the car? Even the real reference, it's hard to see the little pieces. Actually, if you want to do car design, and even just design in general, this one here is an amazing, this is my favorite book in the world. H-Point. It's more about like functionality and design from an intrinsic standpoint, just learning. And it's not just car specifically. Whoa, is my filter being weird again? Hold on. There we go. Ow. Yeah, check out H-Point. It's really good. Yeah, the Zygote body is free. Oh, thank you, Nod, for posting that. Cool, thank you, Bertram. Yeah, yeah, you guys don't want to see my abs. Abs. um, Tips or tutorials on doing fur in ZBrush. Yeah, there's if you want to do a search for what's it called? Fiber mesh. And we do like an anteater, polypaint fiber mesh, ZBrush fur. There's that one. Fiber mesh hair cards, just fiber mesh in general. So just work your way down this playlist. I think these top two will probably be your best bet. If you want to do stylized stuff, look for hair. Hair card techniques, hair, and also not even just hair, but controlling curves is just another way to do that hair. And really, I don't know why I didn't tag these things correctly or if I just lost the tag. But in the ZBrush 2018, ZBrush Summit 2018, halfway down here, there's all sorts of like Z-sphere stuff. So right here, ZBrush, roll cage, bridge tube, companion tube, frame polygroup, curves helper plugin, wire bundles. This wire bundle is perfect for doing hair. It's 18. If you do want to just kind of step through and do like a cylinder that you go through and use the curve deformer, bend curve, and then you can actually frame different polygroups with different strands. So you can do very nice stylized hair that's very controllable. You can twist, you can turn, and then you can do like little, if you wanted to do like a twisted beard with things around it. What am I trying to say here? Rubber bands, I don't know. Stuff. Dwarf beard holders. You could do that. Z-Sketch, well, before I leave, we'll talk a little bit about Z-Sketch here. So just real quickly, Z-Sketch is a way, if you have a Z-sphere in here, you can go down here to Z-Sketch and you can go into edit sketch mode, and now you can use a thing called Z-Sketching to go through and do very cool kind of Z-Sketchy stuff, and you can go through here and you can do very fine-tuned Z-sketching stuff. You can use Z-sketching for muscles, and it's just really just a different way to kind of mask things out. If you hit A, that's going to show you your unified skin. So you can go through here and you can start sculpting. You don't want to start sculpting on that. You want to say unified skin, make unified skin. If you want to know more about any keywords you want to plug in here, I'm sure you will find something. Let's see. Maybe not though. I put my foot in my mouth. So Z-sketch. Yeah, Z-sketch roots. Ooh, boy, there's not a lot. But anyway, you can Z-sketch on here. You can also make an armature, a Z-sphere armature. So you can make a Z-sphere armature and Z-sketch on top of that. You can make unified skin and adaptive skin and pull them down. Also, if you have another, if we say append a cube here, and we scale this down, you scale it, oops. Anything else you have in your scene, so go back to our Z-sketch here, and we'll go back into edit sketch mode. Anything that's on your scene, it'll stick to. So if you wanted to do, roots, or if you wanted to do anything or any organic-y stuff that you want to do really quickly like this, it's a really good way to do that. And then you can say, hey, give me my unified skin, and then make unified skin, and now you can just start sculpting on this thing, and you can zero mesh it if you want to, all that good stuff. I know, all dwarf needs beard holders. Every time I've seen a dwarf, they got little beard holders. Beard rings, that'll work. Cool. Alrighty, everybody. Sorry, Bertram, I'll hit up your sculpt later this week. Wait, it's Thursday. You know what? My Pixologic live stream is gonna be on Tuesday. The first thing I'm gonna do is go into my Pixologic live stream, and we'll do some little demon sculpting and some fat guy sculpting, and have a little bit of fun with that. ZBrush transpose line work like real life measure. Yeah, accurate measurements in ZBrush, Scale Master, Z plugin, Scale Master is really good. As far as your transpose line, if you hit Y, going into your preferences there under transpose and transpose units, there's a kind of a way to do it. You can calibrate, but to have calibration, you have the right size object, so you can use Scale Master to do that. Honestly, I would go into like Fusion 360, set up a scene where I know my scale is very accurate, and then take my transpose line and set my calibration based on real world CAD data, and then you should be good to go. Last few saves of a project I'm working on no longer work. Oh, what error is it giving you? Because that's not good. If it's, I would say number one, always try and save as a Z tool because those are a little bit less prone to corruption. Beyond that, I'm really not sure. I'd have to look that up. When you're going to switch from Blender from Maya, as soon as I can, I promise. I just have to sit down and learn it. I don't have any time into myself anymore. I usually try to stream first Thursday of the month, first Tuesday of the month. First Tuesday of the month is on my Pixelogic channel. So if I go to my Pixelogic stream, that's the Pavlovich workshop. If you Google that, you'll see this is my Pixelogic channel here. The Pixelogic channel is having a hard time with streaming. It like had to break my last one, but it just stopped 3 times, and I think my stream's been fine today. So, oh wow, I need to. There we go. That color chroma is killing me. Anyway, yeah. So Tuesdays, Thursdays. Switching to Blender is worth it. I think so. It's free, and supposedly in 2.8. It's supposed to be really rocking, and I've seen amazing stuff done with it. I've been meaning to switch, or at least been using it for the last 5 years, and I just haven't done it. So soon. Thanks, everybody. See you Tuesday on Pixelogic's channel.